Hello, Roland. With us is Roland FREUDENSTEIN. He's head of research of Center for European Studies think tank, and he has been active also working in Konrad Adenaueri Stiftung before, so experienced man. Today we witnessed here a bit of sparkling debate about how to use troops in Mali, and could you just explain a bit where do you stand and what was this conflict about?
Yeah, let's start with the conflict itself. It was about, or the controversy.
Controversy, yes.
It was about the question when Europe and or the United States should use military power, under what circumstances, how clearly one should know the exit strategy before one even starts the intervention, whether it's not better to try diplomatic channels or political means. All this was debated here on the panel itself and with the audience. Now, what do I think about this? I believe that we have to take note of the fact that there are people out there who want to kill us. And nothing we can say or do in terms of development assistance or political dialogue will change that. Now, how many of these people out there want to kill us, or even worse, our children, that's an open question. And I think there are things we do, mistakes we make, which increase the number of those people. And there are things we do right, which will decrease the number of the people. But the people will be there, because this is our modern world. This is our globalized world of the 21st century, and we're not getting away from it. And this is one of the things that's very important to me, is like, you know, whether we want it or not, we will have to fight. We will have to have soldiers, and we have to have interventions. And whether the thing in Libya was the cause of the trouble in Mali, and whether the intervention in Mali, which is seen positively today by all Europeans, will still be seen positively in 5 years' time, it's an open question. We need to debate that. But we are not, in my opinion, we will not be able to shy away from military conflict. Yeah. What's the Estonian point of view here? We talked about conscription. You know, if I was Estonian, I would maintain conscription. Because in fact, Estonia, more than other European countries, there is a residual threat of a neighboring power threatening you and your independence and liberty, which is not the case for Germany or France.
Yeah, that is true.
Not in a territorial way.
That is true.
Which is why we can afford to move from conscription armies to all volunteer forces. But what's the Estonian point of view?
Well, I think the answer is really in our history and our geopolitical position, and of course this determines that we should have conscription army, and also this determines some other things. For example, which I would say might be a bit of worry for us. We have seen always a strong partner and ally, United States for us, which is in another framework of NATO, and in this sense, actually, I would like to move to your opinion about United States and European relations. Americans pulling out and putting their troops elsewhere, but it seems like Europe
is not filling the void.
Is not filling the void.
That's exactly.
And this worries us.
I understand. I'm worried too.
Yeah.
You know,
what should we do?
I think, first of all, we have to abandon all illusions about Europe as the world policeman, as the next world policeman. And this is one of the fashionable... Europe. It's one of the fashionable theories which is being peddled at the moment by op-ed writers and journalists and some politicians, that yes, the United States are basically generally withdrawing from military interventions. They want to lead from behind. And then, if you look at regions of the world, their involvement in Asia will, if anything, will grow, and their involvement in Europe will sink even faster, will decrease even faster. So, and then some people conclude from that, okay, well then Europe needs to be the next global power. I don't know whether to laugh or to cry when I hear this, because it's ridiculous. Because if you look at what happened in Mali, there was no European solidarity. I mean, Germany sent 2 transport planes, which are not under French command and which are not allowed to land closer than 150 kilometers from the front line. That's not solidarity. That's not European security and defense policy. No. This is a tiny little drop of what is actually needed. And so I'm duly ashamed for the reaction of Germany and of most other European partners. I mean, many of them don't even have the capacities to help anyone in a faraway country like in Africa. But now, what's the conclusion of all this? For me, is that if anything, it'll be Europe and America together that can achieve any security in this world. Beyond defending their own borders, to even intervene in Europe's neighborhood, east and south. It will be necessary to have the support of the United States and to do it either through NATO or as an EU intervention, but with American logistical help, intelligence, and possibly even concrete combat support from the United States. Otherwise, we will not manage to handle even 2 or 3 crises like the one in Mali at the same time. I mean, there will be times when we have to handle several of these crises, these emergencies.
What do you think about an idea of European armed forces, which would then, I don't know how it would work. As a command structure, where does a command come from? But currently, it's Europe is somehow divided, as the case of Mali, and so how do you see?
Well, theoretically, we should already have so-called battle groups that are operational.
I think we have also some.
Yeah, they take too long. I mean, they are not operational now because countries have not agreed to properly pool and share their armed forces. Pooling and sharing is the big buzzword of the day. And because we do not have the proper command structures. Now, there is a paradox involved here. If the European Union, in its own institutions, builds up the command structures, there will be a doubling of tasks with NATO. Yes. On the other hand, I think even the Americans would not consider it a hostile act from the Europeans if they did build up their own command structures. So we are in a completely unclear situation at the moment as to who does what and which institution is actually the main address, the main responsible institution for planning and carrying out military interventions. I think in the end we'll come to a situation where both NATO and the European Union will do something like this. But for the European Union to build up the capacities, it will still take a few years at least.
Okay, but basically you think it's a good idea?
Basically, I think it's a good idea that the European Union can act on its own, outside of NATO. But my prediction is that even in those cases, sustained military action will not be possible without American support.
Okay. Thank you very much, Roland, for your thoughts.
Okay, thanks.